So my brother was applying for this job, and they went through the whole process of interviewing him, telling him he qualified. But then as they start getting into like his mind and everything, they like, oh, you want a life outside of the job? Yeah, we're gonna proceed with other candidates because the policy goes against moonlighting. And basically moonlighting is if you're working at a job, right? But you got another job, you got another source of income, you got another business, you got something else that you're doing, another venture, and this is your second job or a side job, a side hustle. So basically the company doesn't want you to focus or invest into nobody but the company if you work there. He was like, yo, why would they walk me through that whole process, tell me I qualify, and then at the end tell me y'all gonna go for other candidates because I don't want to be here forever, long term? I feel like you can get more value out of somebody getting in short term than them trying to work there forever, long term. And some people will say, well, oh, it's the other way around. That's just all in your perspective.
In today's business and financial news, let's discuss moonlighting. Multiple jobs, multiple sources of income. For some employers or potential employers, it seems like they don't want you as an employee or a potential employee to win.
You can pause to read the title and then search it if you want to read the full thing. Long story short, Equifax used something called the work number to verify that some of their employees had multiple full-time jobs. Some people had 2 full-time jobs, some people had 3 full-time jobs. And Equifax felt as though you cannot commit to 2 full-time jobs, so they decided to let go of 24 employees. Let me tell you what I think this means for other industries. Like, I think companies are trying to find any way humanly possible to get people back into the office. Of course, when you're working remotely, you have the flexibility to make multiple commitments, such as having 1 part-time job and another full-time job. But there are many people who work 2 full-time jobs, even when they do have to go into the office. I think with something like this, it's going to give Equifax grounds to say we're revoking our work from home policy because employees are abusing their time. I think a lot of industries are going to start to look into what their employees are doing when they're working from home. Like, do they have multiple commitments? Are they working 2 or 3 full-time jobs? Are they actually able to perform efficiently at work? Are they slipping up at work because they have multiple jobs? I think a lot of employers are going to start asking a lot of questions.
They don't want gaps on your resume, but they also don't want you to have multiple jobs. They don't want you to run a small business. They don't want you to be unemployed. And they don't necessarily want you to be on social media. And honestly, some of you shouldn't be on social media. But that's a different story.
In 2025, Alaska Airlines flight attendant Nell Diala was terminated after posting a TikTok video of herself twerking on an empty plane before a flight. The video, intended to celebrate the end of her probationary period, went viral and led the company to dismiss her for violating professionalism and company policies. Diala argued that she was being punished for expressing herself on social media, while others criticized the act as disrespectful to her uniform and profession.
In my HR career, I've probably let go of 8 or 9 people just for something that they posted on social media. So you have to be really careful because your digital footprint will follow you, and this is one of the reasons why you should never put a lot of personal information out there. Like, if your full name is in the comments, and some of the comments y'all are writing, why is your whole full name in those comments? Please explain to me how it is so easy to find you. We're pulling people up on Facebook. They have where they live, where they work. Don't do that. Don't use your full name on social media if you're going to be out there. If you're going to be out on social media, don't say anything that could get you fired. I mean, it's actually very easy. And I know people are going to be like, oh, freedom of speech. Yes, but the corporations that you work for also get to decide what you stand for. And if you have some sort of connection to that company, like they can connect you back to that company, the likelihood of you getting in trouble for something you posted on social media increases pretty significantly. So y'all got to be really careful and maybe go scrub your personal information from your social media pages just in case, because even though you didn't post anything now, something from 10 years ago come back to haunt you, honestly.
So as a potential employee or job seeker, what do you do? Even if or when you emphasize that your role with the company is your top priority, HR can still be nosy and inquire about your other sources of income. For some employers, they may mandate that you disclose other sources of income regardless of if that income is at all related or relevant to your role or your position or your responsibilities with them. So what is an employee to do? That is the question. But before we get into these perspectives, please subscribe. We're just a lone YouTube channel inching our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we need you.
I had to get a part-time job because even though I have an amazing full-time job with benefits, I only make about $75,000, and it is not enough in this economy. As a single woman that lives on her own, that has to pay really, really high rent and is in a little bit of debt and also has student loans, so it doesn't really leave that much for anything really. And bills just keep coming in, so I decided to suck it up and take the advice that my mom has been giving me for like the past year, ever since I moved out on my own. She's like, get a part-time job, get a second job.
The interview did not go well. I've never been rejected from a job so fast in an interview. I don't even think she really asked me any questions. She said, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then basically just told me I didn't have enough experience. I don't know why it's so hard to find a job. I'm not picky. I've applied to literally anything I can find. I've been applying for jobs since June of last year. And it has been absolutely soul-crushing. Getting rejected for 7 months in a row. My 4-year degree did nothing for me. If you like to pray, please pray for me.
So a lot of you are asking me, how do you work multiple jobs? Here is just an example. Hello, hi, thank you for calling such and such. How can I help you? Yes, I'd be happy to help you. Is it okay for me to place you on a 1 or 2 minute hold? Place them on hold. Hello, thank you for calling such and such. Amazon, how can I help you? Yes, I will be glad to look into that for you. Can I place you on a brief hold? Place them on a hold. And then you go to the next one. Hi, yes, so I was able to look into this for you.
I've been working 2 jobs. This is my 3rd week. All I got to say is God give me strength. Because, baby, that 5 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. be killing your girl, okay? Killing your girl. Because I be in the bed 5 or 6 o'clock. So last night it was a struggle. I've dozed off online, but I wasn't the only one. Like, the whole warehouse had to doze off. And the man like, hey. All y'all asses in here sleep. Baby, we tired. Half of the warehouse worked 2 jobs. Like, literally.
You know, a man that really cares about you is not going to watch you work 3 jobs and then expect you to cook dinner multiple nights per week or clean the house on a whim and keep it well put together all the time. You know, a man that really cares about you is going to be concerned about creating an environment for you to be able to thrive. We thrive in security. We thrive in safety. There's nothing safe about you working 3 jobs. That means you don't feel financially secure enough to hold it down with 1 job or 2 jobs. You have to have 3. That means you don't have a partner next to you that's able to carry enough weight so that you don't have to work at least 2 out of the 3 jobs.
Something that helped to spark this conversation is this article that came out by Business Insider. And this came out earlier this month, January 2025. And it's called From 6 Figures to $25 an Hour. These struggling job seekers are settling for lower paying jobs to pay the bills. I think that can be a story for many people in this economy. At one point, you may have been making 6 figures or something really great that you considered as an income. And now you have to settle for a job that pays you less. And for many people, they're appreciative of those lower paying jobs, but they may need to work multiple lower paying jobs to make up for the salary that they once had. Let's get into this article. It has a summary. Laid off workers are taking lower paying jobs amid a tough job market for white collar roles. Many workers struggle to regain previous salary levels post layoff. More than 800 people who experienced long periods of unemployment shared their frustrations with Business Insider. And we appreciate it. Let's take a look to see what they said. Some Americans who were laid off from high-paying jobs are responding to a tougher job market for white-collar workers by accepting a much lower-paying or lower-level role than they previously had. Is that the situation for any of you all? If it is, let us know in the comments. Are you coming from a higher paying job and just to get by and to pay your mortgage, to pay your bills, you're now accepting a lower paying job? Here's an example that they give. Bill Reeves, 65, said he earned about $130,000 annually as a hotel general manager, but after a layoff last year, he struggled to secure anything with similar pay. Reeves now earns about $25 an hour at a property management company in Wisconsin, where he moved to care for his mother. He said bills are tight, and his high Medicare insurance premium is straining his finances. He said he doesn't spend much time looking for other jobs after hundreds of applications, though he's continuing to work hard to make ends meet. Hundreds of applications, Bill? Try maybe thousands of applications. It continues, I just can't afford anything anymore, Reeves said. I anticipate having to work at least another 20 years after I'm dead to make it all come out even. Mercy. Reeves is one of many Americans who have had difficulties finding work recently. The next section is called Struggling to Make Ends Meet. Jamie Jewell, 58, worked in public relations and administrative assistant roles and made about $50,000 at the peak of her career with a company car and benefits. Between layoffs, she's held temporary jobs as a radio producer and defensive driving instructor, though she struggled over the past few years to find stable employment that pays her bills. Jewell faced a divorce in 2016 that set her back financially, and she moved in with her uncle 6 years ago when finances got tight. Let's remind ourselves, how old is she? She's 58, so she moved in with her uncle when she was 52. Oh, divorce. They say that marriage is grand, but divorce is 50 grand. Anyways, back to the article. Jewel, who lives in the Dallas area, makes about $1,000 monthly answering phones for a generator company and cares for her dad and uncle. She said she has no money to retire or financially assist her children, and she plans to continue working. Despite hundreds of unsuccessful applications, she said she's holding on to hope that she'll land something that pays better. In a corporate restaurant interview, a bunch of people in their 20s and early 30s came into the room and immediately looked at me, starting to grow gray hair, and their faces fell because even though I was perfect for the position, they wanted somebody younger, Jewell said. BI previously reported that older Americans often had regrets about their careers, such as not prioritizing education or switching jobs too often. Statistics show that it's often harder for older Americans to return to a comparable role after a layoff. Contributing to that is what some see as age discrimination. In a 2022 survey conducted by AARP, 64% of people aged 50 or over said they experienced or witnessed workplace age discrimination. I've seen reports that say that age discrimination for women starts at the age of 40. I don't know if I'll actually reference where I saw that. Let's keep going. The struggles of those laid off and seeking work have been partly driven by a hiring slowdown in the U.S. Excluding a 2-month pandemic-related dip in 2020, U.S. businesses are hiring at the lowest rate since 2013, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics data. Geez, that's discouraging. They were hiring at the lowest rate since 2013. Per the BLS, about 1.6 million people have been unemployed for at least 6 months as of December, up from 1.3 million a year prior. To be sure, the unemployment rate remains low compared to historical levels, and the layoff rate remains low according to the BLS data. In a challenging labor market, accepting a lower paying or lower level job can serve as a career stepping stone rather than a step back, Jennifer Harity, a career expert at Indeed, told Business Insider. Harity said workers who accept jobs quite different from their desired role should use the opportunity to gain experience, develop skills, and work effectively. We agree, but still it can be discouraging if you're taking a role that really isn't what you are interested in doing just because you have to take it. But if the bills are getting paid, maybe just be thankful that you have employment. When applying for roles, Harity said job seekers should consider excluding a role from their resume if they think it's completely unrelated to their desired role. That's not always that easy because if you exclude a role from your resume, then you have the job gap or gap in your resume, and then HR will ask about what the gap is, and then you'll have to explain what you were doing or where you were, so maybe it doesn't make sense to exclude a role. Andrew McCaskill, a career expert at LinkedIn, said taking a bridge job can help people stay connected to the workforce, gain experience, and avoid resume gaps, which can ultimately make it easier to land your desired role when the job market improves. Those bridge jobs, I think we spoke about those a little bit earlier. But this career decision comes with risk. McCaskill said accepting a lower paying role could have long-term implications on earnings, as it could take a while for someone to work up to their prior salary.
Take that 65K offer. Take it. My first post-grad job, I was working at TikTok and I was offered 50K. And that's freaking TikTok. If I had 65K, if that was my offer, oh my gosh, I would have felt rich. And for me, this particular role, I had to relocate from New York City to Chicago with a 50K salary. And I still made it work. I live in a 1-bedroom. I love my 1-bedroom. It may not be a high rise. I had a great social life. I was out almost every other weekend. When you have a salary like that, like, you can still make it work. There's also a lot of nuance to this conversation because, one, I understand some people have different responsibilities. You might be taking care of your family, or you might be like super like good with your finances and you're already paying off your student loans. There's a lot of nuance to it. But it's also important to remember the type of industry that you're going to. If you are not working in a technical role, it is very, very hard to find a new grad job that is paying you more than 50K. Like, I feel like for those in the technical roles, they're usually making like 90, 100K. But if you're in a creative route like me, I was doing advertising at TikTok, it's kind of cheap. Some companies still have the nerve to be paying folks 30, 40K. But I think for those who are like in the creative side, marketing, advertising, comms, PR, even some health stuff, like I've seen some health stuff with really low stuff, it is really hard to be making a lot of money. So I feel like 65K is a new grad, especially if you don't have many responsibilities, single, child-free, man-free. You can make it work.
Individuals who transfer to lower level roles within their industry could have a better chance of bouncing back. Scott Feit began looking for IT roles when he was laid off from a systems analyst job last April. He said he spent a couple hours a day every day applying for jobs but had little luck. I applied to everything that I could be considered qualified for, even if it might have been an inconvenient commute, Feit, who is in his 60s and lives in Pennsylvania, told BI. When Feit's severance payments ended in October, he was still unemployed. He said it wasn't until late November that he received his first job offer, a programmer position that was fairly similar to his prior role. The downside was that the pay was $68,000 annually, roughly $21,000 less than he made at his last job. He decided to accept the offer. Feit said his lower income has led him and his wife to eat out less, cut a few subscriptions, and pay for repairs for their 2 vehicles rather than buy new ones. Looking forward, Feit is optimistic that he'll be able to catch up to his prior compensation level. I think in 3 or 4 years, I'll be back to where I was salary-wise, he said. If I receive another offer for more money, I can always accept that one. I just needed to get going again. And that's how the article ends. I just needed to get going again. So this has been an interesting article about how people are accepting lower paying jobs when they can't necessarily find something at their previous salary level. And that's acceptable. Like you said, sometimes you just need to get going again. You just need to get your foot back out into the job market and see how things progress from there. And like we started this video with, sometimes that's a matter of moonlighting. So if your new job doesn't cover your bills or doesn't equal your former salary or what you're expecting for compensation, sometimes you do have to moonlight and find additional employment, find a different job, or find a secondary or third job. Go on social media to make money. You have to be creative in how you're making money to pay bills in 2025.
Here are 4 careers that I think will have a really hard time getting jobs in the future. The first one is anything that has to do with writing. So copywriting, editing, all that jazz. I think they're going to be replaced by ChatGPT because as the AI gets better and well trained, it's just going to be doing a better job than humans, quite honestly. The second thing is graphic design. I think a lot of brands and just people in general are realizing that they can make a lot of the graphic design using templates on Canva. And also ChatGPT is getting better when it comes to their photo recognition tools. Third job that I think is going to have a really tough time is social media management. And I think that's because there's a lot of software tools that are coming out right now where you can essentially do a lot of the posting through that app itself. The last job is, honestly, if you're a mid-level manager, I would really be on the edge of your chair right now because I think a lot of companies are just removing that like extra layer of like process, which is what middle managers ensured in corporate America. So yeah, I would get some like tangible skills like either like coding, UX design, marketing to just kind of like elevate yourself.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening. See you soon.